The scavs are coming to town. It's finally here. The scav mode has been unleashed on Escape from Tarkov. Now here's a couple of things you should know before heading into the game. You will spawn as a scav randomly throughout the map. There is no guarantee that you're going to spawn in with a weapon. You can spawn in with a shotgun, you can spawn in with an AK, with a pistol. A lot of the times, I must say, I've sort of played about 10 rounds of scav mode, and most of the times, I'd say 6 or 7 of them, I spawned with a pistol. I spawned with an AK once and once with a shotgun, but mostly you don't really have nothing in your inventory, and that's going to be sort of the tricky part. Now right here you can see there's already shooting at us. That's because you're not guaranteed to spawn at the beginning of the raid. You can spawn in halfway through a raid, you can spawn in the beginning, you can spawn in quite late in the sort of raid, and you don't know where the players are, so therefore the players have, let's say, a little bit of an advantage because they can get to positions quicker before you get into the game. Say if you spawn in as a scav early on, you know where they're going to spawn, you sort of just rush that objective and then you sort of wait for them, like put an ambush down, and then that's that. Now you can spawn every 30 minutes and play as a scav, although on factory you can play every minute and 30 seconds, I found, so you can play it over and over as quickly as that on factory. Now the trick with the scav mode is, what I found is that once you get in as a scav, try and protect the scavs as much as you can, because that guarantees that nobody as a player will spawn as a scav. Now I know that sounds a bit weird, but hear me out. As long as you have the X amount of scavs, and I think it's 5 or 6 or something like that, including you, you will have no spot for a player to spawn as a scav. So as long as you kill all those sort of 4 or 5 players that are in the game, which is the bear and the USEC, then don't kill any scavs, because you won't have that hard of a time going around looting all the factory, doing everything you want to do, and then right at the end when you think you're ready, just kill 2-3 of them, get all the loot, and then just go to the extraction zone and you can just extract, and then you can transfer all that loot into your main character. But if some of the AIs do die, then other players will take its place. Now there is a chance that a player will come in 47 minutes into the raid, 30 minutes into the raid. I've gone in 28 minutes into the raid. You just don't know when you're going to go into the raid and what kind of weapons do you have. So chances are that you don't know who's who, and that's kind of what's making it really cool. Now the scavs are really loud, and they're always talking to each other. They're always just having a laugh and having a joke and talking about all sorts of different things. And that's what's going to give you, the player, the advantage, because you can hear them, you know where they are. No longer you just have to focus on the footsteps, you can actually hear them talking, and they'll talk a lot more now. And they've got some cool jokes on the go, but I'll put some of that towards the end, and trust me, you want to listen to that because it's funny as hell. I couldn't stop laughing when I heard them talking about it. But the other trick is, let's say you do have a couple of scavs that did die, then you're going to have players in. Now, you can pretend to be an AI and sort of walk into a wall and things like that, but you don't know if that's going to work or not, if that player is going to leave you alone. Is he just going to straight up shoot you, or is he just going to go, okay, well, the AIs are friendly towards me, I'm not going to shoot anybody, I'm just going to leave it alone for now, deal with all the players, and then I can easily just pick off the AIs, pick off the best with the best weapons, because they're not going to shoot at me until I've actually shot at them. So keep in mind that the AIs are friendlies unless you want to get yourself sort of a better weapon. And you can see this guy right here, this is a scav, but even though it could have been friendly or not, it's not really, because that was a player. You know, the scavs simply just don't sort of behave that way, so it's going to be a little bit tricky for you to know who's a scav, who's a player, and sort of once you learn where they will go. And I mean, the scavs will not particularly go into rooms to loot and things like that. When you hear opening boxes and things like that, then you know that there's going to be a player around. If it's not sort of making the sort of paths and the movements, the right sort of paths which the AIs take, if you learn that, then it's going to help you a lot more when you're playing as a scav. And as a scav, I mean, you're not going to make huge amounts of experience like you do with the regular USEC or the bear, but what you're going to get is you're going to get a lot of loot out. Now, you're obviously going to have the players, let's say nobody goes in with a AK or anything like that. Maybe you go with the MPX now, maybe you go with something else. They've added a couple of new weapons, which we'll cover in the next video. And you'll be able to be just yourself and the scav at one point, the scav army. And then once you get to that point, then the whole map is yours to loot and get all the good stuff out. But there's another thing that you have to worry about. You know, you have to worry about your thirst. You have to worry about your hunger. Do you want to stay till the end? I mean, I don't recommend, because I've tested this out already. Do not stay to the very, very end where you've got zero time, because you'll just be missing in action and you lose all your gear. Whenever you're ready as a scav and you think, okay, well, I've got enough loot, I've killed enough players, I've killed enough scavs, I'm just going to go and extract. Just go to the extraction, and then that's that. As a scav, you don't really start with a med kit. I started with a med kit twice, but not every single time. Sometimes you get a bandage, sometimes you don't. So it's going to be pretty tricky for you, because you still have to go and do a bit of looting. Look at this bastard here waiting for somebody to go to the extraction. But you still have to go and do a bit of looting for yourself. You need to get some salvas and med kits and bandages and things like that just to keep you alive, and that's going to give you away a little bit from the other players. So it's really interesting how Scav Mode works. Like I said, I've only played about sort of 10 matches or something like that, just to sort of figure out what it's like and what's it all about. It's going to be tons more gameplay and lots more stuff coming out in the next couple of days. We're going to talk about all the new weapons that they got into the game. We're going to talk about they've unlocked a couple of skills and things like that. So there's going to be plenty of new content from Escape from Tarkov. And that's pretty much it. I've got all my loot. I'm ready to go. I've got to the extraction. I've extracted. Now, you don't start with a key either, so you might need to find the key if you want to extract. But as soon as you get to that stage, that's all your loot. And the loot that you see in just it's unorganized there, that's kind of the loot that I got out from the raids I've been in as a scav. Now, I've got to that point where I mentioned earlier on that I didn't kill any of the scavs. I killed the players and left all the scavs. So there's like 5-6 scavs around. You can just follow them around. You can see what they do. You can learn which way they go and things like that, and that's going to help you later down the line, because you can tell who's a player and who's a scav. So I'll let you enjoy some of this commentary from the AIs, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Ну ничего, скупщику все продам и заживем. Нормально. Чики-брики, пальчик выкинь. GG, easy.
Did you just say GG easy? What the fuck? Cheeky beaky.